Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
Hey weirdos, I'm Ash.
And I'm Alaina.
And this is Morbid.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, this one's gonna be a doozy, huh?
Guys.
Girls.
Whew. This is one of those cases. It's just one of those cases.
A deep, dark, spooky, horrific, brutal, gruesome case.
Yeah, that about covers it.
Okay.
And so we're going to be covering the Moors murders by Ian Brady and Myra Hindley. We're probably going to be covering them in 3 parts.
1, 2, 3. And Alaina's decided to really put her frickin' pencil to the paper, kind of. And she's going to give you all the cases 2 days apart.
Exactly. We're not going to make you wait long for these ones because they're really intense and I've pretty much already finished them. So you're going to get them. There's only going to be 2 days between each one. They're going to be right after the other.
Three-parter.
No cases in between. You're going to get like full Moors murders for the entire week. So you'll be done by Saturday.
Whoa.
Just so you know.
And I guess I'll try to do something light and fluffy on Wednesday.
Yeah, just to make it
A light, fluffy
Yeah,
scare.
so it's going to be all Moors murders all the time this week. Get excited because it's terrible.
Get your butt glue together.
Oh,
just
yeah.
just gorilla glue your hands to your butt to hold
for
it
real.
together.
Because this is a case, I think I mentioned it last week when I was saying I was going to cover this. This is a case that was, you know how everybody who's been into true crime forever
Has
you
that
have
one
a couple
case.
cases that just have stuck with you, a couple cases that you like couldn't get enough of reading about. You just absorbed everything you could about them, and this is that case for me. It was one of those cases that I could not stop reading about. So that's why this is going to be a very long and very involved case, or 3 cases probably, because I just couldn't leave. There's so much about them. There's so much about the cases. There's so much that happened after the murders.
Yeah.
There's just so much that we can't just give you like this quick little like boop about it, because it just will not do
It will not do.
the victims justice, really. So you're gonna get all the information.
Do we want to bring back something that people have missed a lot for these 3 episodes?
Ooh.
I think if Annie's willing, she's over there. What do you think about a couple palate cleansers, Anne? All right, get one together.
All right, we'll have a palate cleanser for this episode.
Yes.
Which we might use it pretty early on the episode, because I think most of this one, we're going to talk about Myra and Ian. We're going to talk about their lives. We're going to talk about how they got together and their relationship.
Okay.
But I'm going to start it off real bad.
Okay.
So we might need one right away.
All right. Well, Annie, why not? The palette cleanser's after the palette has been destroyed.
Yeah.
So Annie, shoot me a text when you're ready with your palette cleanser. Get it together right now. And Alaina, you know what? Just fucking hop right into this bizarre, horrible mess.
All right, everybody. It's a doozy.
Do you love that I just like assigned everybody? I was like, I'm the captain.
That was great.
I'm the captain now.
That you delegated.
Thank you.
That's what boss ass bitches do. They delegate.
While I was doing that, I also like shoved some of my sparkly eyeshadow that was in the corner of my eye.
I saw that.
Into the inside of my eye.
And now you're just digging on in there.
She's having a moment, but
she's having a moment.
it's okay. Don't worry about me.
Go on, you know what? You might as well make yourself cry right now, because
fuck.
you're about to. So, I mean, this case in the UK is infamous. To this day, it is that case they all hear about. I'm sure all our UK listeners are like, yep, know this one. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows this case. It's intense.
I know of the case, but
Yeah.
I'm going to find out a lot today.
There's just so much.
I'm right here with you.
Just in case anybody wants to check out what I read for part 1, and actually part 2 and 3 as well, but I'm probably going to add some more things on to the citation list for that one. But so far, what I've been reading and what I got this information from are the books Ian Brady, The Untold Story of the Moors Murders by Dr. Alan Knightley. That one's a really good book. It is told kind of in Ian's words at times. It's because Dr. Alan Knightley spoke often with Ian Brady and actually like had a full-blown communication with him for a long period of time. Ian Brady actually left him things in his will. So it's a really first-hand account. He kind of dispels a lot of rumors, but he does not like soften anything that Ian Brady did. He tells it like it is. He just gives kind of the facts from his point of view as well. I also read Depraved, The Moors Murders. That's by C.G.C. Cook. And I also read Evil Relations, The Man Who Bore Witness Against the Moors Murders by David Smith with Carol Ann Lee. That is actually written with the help of a witness to the last murder. So that's a crazy one. I fully recommend it. And we're going to talk more about that one probably in part 2. But the last one I read, and it kind of infuriated me, but I suppose it's kind of... It's kind of interesting to read, and I think it's not a bad one to at least have another perspective. It's called The Monstering of Myra Hindley, and it's by Nina Wilde, who was said to be her lover later in life when she was in prison. So it's definitely got another vibe to it, and I think it's told way more fluffier than it should be. It definitely, like I said, the Alan Knightley one is very straightforward, very like unbiased, just with more first-hand account from Ian. But the Nina Wilde one seems very biased and very much saying that Myra was totally manipulated by Ian and she had nothing to do with it. But I really recommend all 4 of these books just to get some different information to compare and contrast, and I will definitely be adding to that list in the next couple of parts. But start with those, and I will link them in the show notes. It happened between 1963 and 1965. That's when the murders occurred, at least. Mainly, this revolves around Saddleworth Moors, which is
what?
It is. It's moors are just like vast lands, like it's
like fields.
Yeah, like think like Wuthering Heights.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Like it's just like it's like open plains, and it's just like this massive amount of land.
Okay.
I mean, there's like rocky portions, there's marsh portions. It's just a lot of land.
Okay.
They're beautiful. Moors are beautiful, but these are very tainted.
Okay.
The killings took place sometimes in the moors, and also the bodies would be buried on the moors.
Okay.
So these are located in West Yorkshire, and they became, which later I think West Yorkshire became Manchester later, or like part of it did.
Any Manchester United fans out there?
You know,
shout out to my stepmom.
There you go.
Glory, glory. That's the song.
I was like, what's happening right now? But any of our UK listeners who can, you know, probably tell us better about that. I just read like a quick little thing that said like part of it's now Manchester and whatever. I just wanted to put it out there. So before we get into speaking about these 2 absolute blights on the
human kindred spirit.
Yeah. I mean, I want to give you a quick glimpse into what they did, because at times you might feel tempted to feel for them or relate to them.
Now remember, we feel bad for the child them. We don't feel bad for what they did later.
Well, because we're going to talk about their childhoods, we're going to talk about their relationship. It has a tendency sometimes to humanize these people. So I really want to dehumanize them right off the jump so that nobody ends up being like, oh, gross, I felt bad for them for a minute.
Yeah.
I'm going to help you out with that.
You're welcome.
I'm just thinking about you guys.
You're welcome in advance.
Exactly. So Ian in particular can be very easily perceived as like charming, intelligent, worldly.
He
like
also
when you
looks
read
like
about
one
him.
of your ex-boyfriends,
He
which you posted
does.
on Twitter. But if you don't have a Twitter, now you know that, everyone.
It's pretty upsetting. I was like, why does he look so familiar?
A high school boyfriend.
And then you
though,
look at that mugshot, and I was like, oh.
I tweeted at you, and I was like, well, fuck.
You're like, oh shit.
I was like, I need that image out of my head.
He really does. It's upsetting.
Sorry.
Well, so he can be seen as like charming, intelligent, all that good stuff. But that also came along with some of the most evil shit that I've ever heard of.
Oh,
and
good.
he's someone who took what he wanted, when he wanted it, and he just left chaos everywhere he went. And he did that for basically
A
his
sociopath.
entire life. He was a career thief.
What is a career thief?
He like burglarized houses his entire
Oh, okay.
his entire life. What is a career thief?
I was like, what?
Like he started when he was much younger.
Gotcha,
And he did
gotcha.
it basically as a second career.
Okay.
Like he made money out of it. He lived for
I thought he was stealing people's jobs.
No, he didn't do that. Wow.
a criminal.
So many people are going, oh, Ash.
I love when they say that.
He was very overly satisfied with himself to the level of such extreme narcissism that it'll make your ears bleed to hear his quotations.
Oh, God.
Dude thinks he is just it.
The bee's knees.
The smartest. But he had a pretty happy childhood. Albeit unconventional, but he had a pretty happy childhood.
So I'm not going to feel bad for him.
You're not. You might feel bad for Myra.
Whatever.
But you're not after this, so
Okay,
don't worry about
go
it.
ahead.
But Myra's childhood was tough. She was, she was up until the bitter end, ugly as fucking sin.
Not cute.
She was, and I don't feel bad saying that because she's
Well,
a
now- you
literal
can say
scum
whatever
on
you
the
want now.
edge of the earth. You can say whatever you want. And she was obsessed with Ian to the point of almost making you want to feel pity for her.
Oh.
Because she was into him in a very obsessive, like preteen, like swooning over him kind of way.
Gotcha.
And as we'll see later, it was not reciprocated at first.
Like it was like the poster on your bedroom wall that you like kiss before you go to bed. at night.
Exactly. And
That's sad.
Eventually it changes, but at first you could see that and we'll go into like her diary entries and such about it. So
Oh, no.
you could be like, oh, Myra. But just remember, she's a shit stain.
It's always
on the
great
human
when they
race.
find a diary.
Yeah, exactly. So all of this could make you feel bad for her at points, I'm sure. You know, again, feel bad for young Myra with the abusive alcoholic father.
Yeah.
Definitely feel bad for that. But she made a choice to be an evil son of a bitch as an adult, and that's solely on her.
Exactly.
Not only did she make a choice, but she embraced that despicable side of herself and deserves to be admonished just as much as Ian Brady does.
So let's get it.
Well, Myra in particular gets a lot of sympathizers still.
Do you think it's because she's a woman?
For sure. Well, and people see her as someone who went bad purely because of Ian Brady and her need to please him.
In my opinion, that doesn't happen.
You know, it's just
Very, very rarely does that
when
happen.
it comes to crimes as severe as this one,
Right.
you got it in you.
It's
if
like,
you're doing it.
again, I feel like I'm really focusing on this person, but Carla Homolka, like people wanted to
Yeah.
be like, well, Paul Bernardo made her do it. And
No,
it's like,
she wanted
no,
to do that.
People that are capable of doing things like this, it's in them or it's not.
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing. None of the investigators who worked on this case think Myra was anything other than an equal part of a truly evil whole. They were
Right.
like, she was an equal opportunity fuck up in this whole thing. It was not him manipulating her into it. She wanted to do it.
It's like somehow these two fucked up people found each other.
Exactly. And there's audio of some of these crimes, and Myra can be heard participating and being supremely cruel and abusive to these children.
Oh, no.
She is just as evil as Ian, and her attempt to be seen later as a battered and manipulated woman is maddening. Like, maddening. And it's so fucking false. It's false. Obviously, those tapes are not released.
And we're not going to read the transcripts.
Oh, absolutely not. I don't even think there is transcripts, to be
Oh, there's
honest.
not.
They're horrific. And but just hearing what is on those tapes from the investigators, she was very much an equal participant in this.
Mm-hmm.
And for her to later say, which she will talk about later, her to later say, you know, I was. At one point, she said she was running a bath during the whole thing, so she wasn't paying attention. Or she was looking out the
supremely
window.
evil in and of itself.
And it's like, no, we can hear you on the tape. Like, you're participating in it. But thank you.
Good try, though.
Thank you for that. It just makes me want to scream. And they're both abhorrent, but Myra's need to be seen as a victim just makes me hate her on such a separate level. Not more, just on a separate level.
Because when somebody is, like you said, so evil and a willing participant, and then later when they're caught, they're like, oh no,
Like, they want sympathy.
I didn't mean to do
Yeah.
this. It's like, she
wants sympathy.
up.
Well, we're going to get into the crimes in detail in part 2. That's going to be a very rough episode.
Great.
And we're going to talk about their interviews from prison and how they turned on each other, maybe in part 3. But this sneak peek is just so you can remember right from the jump that they are not a sad story of people led astray. They are irredeemable, hateful, depraved affliction on the very fabric of humanity.
The way she writes, everybody.
That is who they are.
This bitch.
So everybody just keep that in mind for the whole thing. That is who they are. They are terrible.
Just put that in your noggin bank.
Just hold on to that. They had 5 victims between 63 and 65. They were Edward Evans, who was 17 years old.
Oh my God.
Keith Bennett, who was 12 years old. Pauline Reed, who was 16 years old. John Kilbride, who was 12 years old. And Leslie Ann Downey, who was 10 years old.
10 years old. So young children
Yes.
across the board.
And Leslie Ann Downey is the example I'm going to give you a brief glimpse at before moving on to Ian and Myra's lives and their relationship with each other. I chose Leslie to drive my point home with, not because her death is in some way, more important than Edward, Keith, Pauline, or John's. Not that. It's just because there's tangible evidence to show the evil of Ian and Myra that I think will keep everyone in the correct mindset while we talk about their lives.
Okay.
So they kidnapped, tortured, sexually assaulted, filmed, recorded, and then murdered Leslie Ann Downey in their home.
Wow.
The audio of her pleas and cries to go home is 16 minutes long. At one point, possibly the most heart-wrenching part of the audio, and let me take a deep breath before I mention this part. This is going to be rough, guys, so just get ready.
Okay.
It's just one sentence, but it's enough. She says to Ian, "Don't undress me, will you? I want to see Mummy."
Oh, no.
All while the sound of the Christmas song Little Drummer Boy is playing in the background, looped.
Shut the fuck up. That's beyond sickening.
Like, even just saying it, my heart just dropped into my toes.
Now, is that something they did on purpose, put on Christmas music on loop?
Well, actually, she was abducted the day before Christmas Eve.
Oh, wow. But did they put it on loop to be like a scary thing?
Probably. I think they just put it on just to make it more of a chaotic situation for her.
Like
because
we
both of
always
both of them had a lot of fun.
Oh, God.
On that audio, both of them are fully into it. And Myra tries to say later that, like, no, I was not part of that. And meanwhile, the investigators are like, oh, no, she was she was cruel on that tape.
Oh, no.
So the former police chief, John Stalker, he passed away in 2019.
R.I.P.
But he worked on this case, and he listened to that 16-minute recording, as did all the investigators.
That will change you.
He had a lot to say about the effects that this case had on everyone who worked on it. And he said whenever he heard the Little Drummer Boy during Christmas after, he said he would have like a physical, visceral reaction to it.
I can't even imagine. You must.
Yeah, and he said, quote, "Nothing in criminal behavior has penetrated my heart with quite the same paralyzing intensity. It's an innocent children's Christmas song, but a chill goes down my spine every time I hear the Little Drummer Boy because it reminds me of Myra Hindley."
And for him to just say Myra Hindley, that's
she was a big part of that tape. And he also said, quote, "The song brings back terrible memories of having to listen to a tape of Hindley and her accomplice, Ian Brady, torturing a terrified little Leslie Ann Downey with that music playing in the background." Mm-hmm. He said, quote, "I first heard the tape when I was a detective sergeant in Manchester investigating the Moores murders. When the 16-minute tape was played at the police station before the trial, I saw senior detectives and legendary crime reporters, hard men who had been through the war and seen terrible things, dissolve into tears. Oh. Anybody unfortunate enough to have to listen to her harrowing last desperate moments could not fail to conclude that Hindley was evil and an equal partner with Brady in the crimes." So he's like, fuck off. Anybody who listened to that tape will tell you she is right there with him.
Right.
So to me, the "I want Mummy" thing is like,
that will destroy you.
That's just, I mean, I can't. Her parents had to listen to that tape to identify their daughter's voice.
Are you serious?
Yep. These two demons created a world where Ann West, Leslie's mother, had to hear her baby pleading for her on tape. That is so beyond any kind of redemption. Like, it's unable to be even articulated properly.
No.
Like, I can't even find the words. Rarely can I not find the words. I cannot find the words.
That's new for you.
Like, I think it's like the Mummy thing. Like, for some reason, and I say it all the time, cases like this, like, really get me.
Well, yeah, you change when you have children.
But it's also like, you think of like the George Floyd case. He called out for his mother.
When you said it, that's exactly what I thought of. It's, if you look into that, like you and I have talked about it, a lot of people's one of their last words are like, "I want my mom," or like "mommy," or something like that.
And it's like, That part of that case too was just like, oh my God. And you're just, I mean, this is me. I'm not speaking for all mothers. I assume most mothers who care about their children feel this way, but I don't want to speak for everybody. And I feel like maybe I'm like a little crazier at times because like I tried really hard to have my kids and like it took us a long time.
Yeah.
So I feel like very overprotective, possibly like to a fault.
Like moderately helicopter-ish.
Yeah, like moderately crazy.
No.
But I feel like even when my kids will say like, you know, when I'm like, you know, that was naughty what you just did and I, you know, no snack after lunch.
Yeah.
When one of them will go like, okay, mama, I immediately am like,
that was mean.
You
like
can
that
have
was
a
too
snack.
much.
Like
right.
I'm like, you know what I mean? I don't know what it is. It's like the word mama or mummy or mum when you're a mother.
Yeah.
To me, I have such like a sense of duty.
No, I get that.
When that word is like thrown at me.
Yeah.
So when one of my kids says that, I just feel like I need to immediately be there. I'm
Right.
like, what?
Well,
I'm your mummy.
even when you just like give a kid a punishment, like you saying that, like I remember babysitting. Like I'm the oldest in the family, so I've babysat like all the grandkids, and like giving them like a punishment, like being like no snack after lunch or like go sit on the stairs. You see something in their face, and it hurts you.
It does,
like,
even though you're like,
you know
I
what?
know
Never,
you have
never
to
mind.
sit.
Like
Yeah,
never mind.
Exactly.
It's hard. You can't do it.
It's so hard. So for this poor little baby, and we're gonna post a photo of like the victims, obviously, and Leslie Ann Downey is like a baby, and she's this beautiful little girl,
and it's 2
to
days
look at that
before
little
Christmas.
face, and for these two demons to hear her say, "I want my mummy," and to have nothing but contempt for her.
Where did they abduct her from?
They abducted her from a fairground.
Like a carnival?
Yeah. And we're going to go into the detail of the whole thing in part 2.
Yeah.
But, and again, as if, you know, this wouldn't just be enough to make you want to, like, launch this planet into the sun because
There's
two
more.
people like this exist on it, Myra doubled down.
And said,
So
no?
in 1987, after she had admitted to her role in the murders, she wrote a fucking letter to Leslie Ann Downey's mother,
Are
Anne.
you kidding me?
And she acted like she deserved to be pitied.
How is that even allowed? If I was the fucking postman or like the guy that took care of the shit at jail, I would have lost that letter.
Well, it's unbelievable.
How is that even allowed?
She wrote to this woman acting like she was the victim. There's a quote. So one of the quotes is, "I know almost everyone describes me as cold and calculating.
You are,
evil
bitch.
Myra. But I ask you to believe that I find all of this deeply upsetting."
Do you? No, you find it upsetting because you're in jail now. That's what you find upsetting.
Myra, no one gives a shit that you're upset about being called evil. You shit-brained, busted-faced, whiny little twat. Are you
Right.
kidding me?
Right.
You're talking to a woman whose daughter you brutally
took away her
assaulted
daughter.
and murdered and filmed it.
And you're asking her to please believe in you.
And you're saying, I'm so sad that people are calling me evil. Fuck right off.
Yeah, she's so sad that the evil woman who's writing to her murdered her daughter.
Oh, it gets worse. So then she lies, knowing that Anne has heard the fucking tape of her child being tortured and murdered. She knew that she heard that.
And says
And she
what?
said, quote, "Please believe me, not for my sake, but simply in the hope that it will give you even a little peace of mind.
Because that's what I want to do.
That however monstrous and unforgivable the crime was, your child was not tortured to death."
No, she was.
Also, that doesn't help, you disgusting vermin. Like, that's proof right there to me that she doesn't understand human empathy or human emotion.
Right.
She can't see that it does absolutely nothing to reassure a mother that although you violently abducted, filmed, recorded, and murdered her 12-year-old baby girl, that you didn't torture her to death.
Right. Like, what?
Like, you can't understand, like, why she wouldn't give a shit what you are saying right now?
That's like when Mel addressed the family at Brenda Sue Schaefer's case when he finally admitted that he did it and was like, I raped, I tortured, I took photos, I did all this, but she died peacefully.
Exactly. Like, no one
she
gives
didn't.
a shit.
No one gives a shit, and that's not true.
And that's just...
You're a liar.
And that's why you can see that these kind of people are such a different kind
They
of person.
don't understand how, like, our human brains work.
They do not understand basic human empathy or emotion.
It's
Well,
mind-boggling.
then she started a scam against them in the letter that they didn't fall for.
Wait,
and that was
what?
caught a year or so later. So she says in the letter, "I have written to the Home Office and the Parole Board to say I do not wish to be considered for parole. And my own belief is that I shall probably remain in prison until I die." So that sounds nice, right? Okay,
Yeah,
sit
cool.
there, rot.
Have a great time.
You understand that you shouldn't get parole. That's real nice, Myra. So she claims she isn't going to go for parole because
She
she's
does.
such a good person now and wants to serve her sentence and never be released. So nice, Myra. Well, it turns out that was a ploy that she was
Because
manipulating.
she didn't want them to show up to the parole hearing, right?
Well, she was trying to get Leslie Ann Downey's family to stop campaigning against her possible parole and blocking it. Because within a couple of years, she petitioned for parole again and was denied in 1994.
Right.
Ann West continuously petitioned for the government to stop Myra from ever being released until she died in 1999.
Wow.
R.I.P.
I know.
Ann. But her husband, Alan, continued until Myra died in 2012.
Thank
or
God.
2002, I'm sorry. But so she was literally
Trying them.
to manipulate this poor woman whose daughter she brutally murdered into dropping her campaign against her getting out of parole so that she could go for parole and not have her blocking it.
What a sick, twisted
Like, she's
fuck.
a sick fuck. They both, I mean, Ian is just as sick a fuck, as we will see, but Myra she really tried till the very end to play that victim card.
It's crazy to me. I didn't even realize that victims or families could be contacted by the murderer in
Yeah,
jail.
it was unbelievable.
There should be some, like, you know how murderers can't, like, people in jail can't write, like, she couldn't write to Ian.
Yeah.
There should be another thing where you can't write to the fucking
Well,
family.
actually, her and Ian did communicate at one point.
Did they?
While they were in prison. And
There's always loopholes.
John Kilbride's brother also was contacted Myra. They spoke through
Wow.
letters. Yeah. So let's start with Myra.
Okay.
I took a trip to LA and I was on Hollywood Boulevard and there was someone getting a star on the Walk of Fame and it was Mr. 305. Pitbull himself.
Myra Hindley is called the most evil woman in Britain.
I believe that.
She was born July 23rd, 1942 in Manchester. She was born to Nellie and Robert Bob Hindley.
I love the name Nellie.
Her father, Robert, fought in World War II, so he wasn't actually around for her birth, and he wasn't around until she was like 3 or 4 years old. She was raised mainly by her mother, Nellie, and her grandmother, Ellen.
Okay.
Now, while the father was away, they lived with Ellen, who she called Gran.
Okay.
She loved Gran. According to everything, Gran is a great human being who spoiled her endlessly.
Gran sounds like a gem.
Yeah, she got along with Gran really well. When her father got home from war, they had moved in with Gran while he was gone, but then they moved out when the father came back from war. Mm-hmm. They moved into a house that was like really close to Gran's house, so the whole family was on like one little neighborhood. They had another daughter, Maureen, on August 21st, 1946. Mm-hmm. Maureen and Myra became like best friends.
Okay.
They remained best friends
So this
for a
all
long
sounds
time.
great so far.
So Robert Hindley had a tough time adjusting when
Some
he came back.
PTSD
Yeah.
probably.
He had become an alcoholic. He was very abusive.
Oh.
Who knows if PTSD was involved, because it's not like World War II was a great time. So when he got back, there was suddenly lots of fighting between the parents. Mm-hmm. And when this happened, Myra would walk with her sister Maureen down to her grandparents' house. And eventually, they actually ended up moving in with their grandparents, their grandmother.
Sure.
Because Gran was like, you know what?
This isn't an environment for
We
children.
really don't want you growing up with this violence, and I'm happy to take you. And, that's fine. And
Grans are the best.
She later said, any good in me comes from Graham.
Wow.
Yeah. So they worked it out as a family where she was going to sleep at Gran's house, or they both were going to sleep at Gran's house. But her dad really wanted to make sure that they spent days with their parents and they had meals with their parents.
Okay.
So it
that's
seemed
nice.
like everybody was pretty
So
cool
he was like,
with this
before I
scenario.
get fucked up and start yelling at your mom, let's have fish and chips for lunch.
I think that's what it was. I think it was like probably as it usually happens, because we'll find out he went to pubs at night where he would get soused and then come home, and it was usually pandemonium.
I know what that's like.
So
That sounds like my entire childhood.
I think it was like before he would go to the pub, things were okay.
The
Like,
Longhorn.
he was kind of a tough guy, but like I don't think it was as bad during the day.
Well, some people are like so different. It's like you can be this amazing person during the day,
Yeah,
like
and then
amazing dad, and then
flip a
at
switch.
night you get soused and you're a different dude.
Well, Myra was a tough chick. She was a tough chick her whole life.
Sounds like she kind of had to be in the beginning,
She
but
definitely
don't forget
did.
what she did.
She was taught violence pretty early on, obviously, and her father encouraged his daughters to stand up for themselves, which is good.
Sure.
But he encouraged it with violence. Like,
Not
he would be
good.
like, you should punch people if they make you mad.
You shouldn't do that.
He was a championship boxer in the military, and he literally took Myra outside in the backyard and, like, taught her how to punch correctly.
All right.
Which is not, like, a total bad thing to teach your kid, like, how to
it's
defend themselves.
self-defense.
But, like, he encouraged it to, like, solve problems, and that's not good.
It's not how we solve problems.
So, like, when she was 8 years old, a boy, you know, she was known, like, you don't mess with Myra. Like, she'll fuck you up. And when
Forever, for her whole life.
Literally, she will fuck you up forever. And when she was 8, a boy was, like, bullying her, and he ended up reaching out and scratching her face. And she told her father this when she went home. She was like, what the hell is this about? He scratched my face. And her father was like, go find that kid and punch him in the face. And so she was like, all right. So she went and knocked this kid out.
I can't argue that. But as soon as if somebody else throws the first punch, have at it.
I mean, he scratched you.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. But here's the problem. So she went and punched this kid.
And she fought him
comes
into
home
oblivion.
and she's like, Dad, I did it. And he was like, I am so proud of you.
So she realized
And suddenly
that,
she got this approval, and
Yup.
he's giving her a hug and being like, that's my girl.
so now she's going to beat
So-
people up to get love and attention at home.
So now she's learning that violence is going to lead to approval. you
Which maybe later
Not a
happened
good
in her
thing.
relationship.
know? Not between the two of them.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Myra, we have to remember, is a lying sack of dog shit, just to be clear. She's said about 100 different stories regarding the abuse she either suffered or didn't suffer when she was younger. She at various points has said her father only abused her a couple times, that she was only hit when she was punished, that he beat her and her sister regularly, that he would knock them unconscious for nothing at all.
It's a big leap.
That he would abuse them so badly that they would almost die. Then she would say her mother sometimes abused them too, but then other times she would say she never even spanked us. So she's a lying sack of
She
shit.
sounds real confused.
She manipulates to get whatever reaction she's looking for at that given time.
That minute.
Yeah, that minute, you need me to say that he abused me so badly that I almost died? Well, there it is. That's the story. So we really don't know, because what we do know is later in life, he disowned her when he found out what she did. So he was horrified.
Wow. Well, a good, duh.
Yeah. So she also said that every night her father, like I said, would go to the pub, get drunk. He would fight because he was a championship boxer. So he had that in him. And he was like,
I'ma
he would
fight
pull
you.
it out when he would get mad at the pub. And then he'd come home and fight with her mother. And she
a
said
great existence.
Yeah. And then she said sometimes Myra was sent back to the pub to gather his jacket that he would often take off when he would fight people at the bar.
Yeah.
And she said, quote, I never sought to blame him for anything I did when I was older. It devastated him that his daughter could possibly have done the things I did, and he disowned me. But he was far from being a good role model. Which, of course.
Not everybody has good role models.
But to me, it's Myra being like, no, I don't blame him, but listen what he did.
But he did do this.
Like, so it's like you are trying to blame. You're
You are.
trying to subconsciously plant it in everyone's mind that it's probably his fault.
Well, and it's like, you know what? Plenty of people have that growing up and they don't do the things
Exactly.
that you did.
And she wrote an article in The Guardian in 1995 about this stuff. And she said the violence she saw definitely made her learn about dominance and control, which
Yeah.
she later brought into her own relationship and her crimes. Either way, through all this, she did really well in school. She was happy in school. She was apparently like a brilliant writer.
Okay.
Apparently one of her essays was so good that they like displayed it in the school. Which I'm
Probably
sure-
because she's good at lying in fantasy.
Yeah.
So typically you can write about those things.
Well, she also read a ton, and her favorite book was The Secret Garden, which I was like, oh no, we've
Yeah.
all read that.
Thanks for ruining that.
That's a
Myra.
bummer. When she was a teenager, she and her girlfriend babysat a lot around town, which is horrifying to think about now.
Yeah, no thank you.
She was known to be a great babysitter who was wonderful with kids.
That's like Marianne Shore. She
Yeah.
was a babysitter.
Yep. And she apparently loved kids when she was younger, like so
What
much.
happened?
But took pride later in saying that she did not want to be a mother and that kid sucked when she got older.
It's fine if you don't want to be a mom, but kids don't suck.
Well, and it's weird that you were like so into them and then you're
Yeah.
just like, meh.
Completely were like, never mind.
But when she was 15 years old, this was kind of like a big thing that happened in her life. When she was 15 years old, she saw a 13-year-old boy being bullied. Mm-hmm. And because she would stand up for herself, she felt it was... Because, again, at this point, she loved kids. So at this point, when she would see a kid being bullied, she stood up for them. Mm-hmm. Like, she was not a bully. She stood up to bullies for everybody.
This is so weird.
Isn't it so weird? So she saw this 13-year-old boy being bullied. She stands up for him, fights the bully, and is like, get the fuck out of here.
Good.
Eventually, these two, her and the kid that was bullied, become best friends.
I love that.
And his name was Michael Higgins, and they were together all the time. And they were only 2 years apart, so it wasn't crazy. But one day he asked her to hang out by this old like reservoir. Yeah. They used to hang out there a lot.
Romance.
And she had made another plan. So she was like, no, I can't come. Well, later she heard all this commotion was happening by the reservoir.
Oh, no.
She ran to the reservoir and she sees that they are pulling Michael Higgins out of the reservoir and he had drowned.
Oh, no.
And so she feels extreme guilt for that because she said up till the end, if I was there, I could have helped him.
Right. It's survivor's guilt.
It is. It totally is. So she left school at 15 years old to start her life. This wasn't uncommon at this point.
Because you said it's before the 60s even.
Yeah. So this was just, she's a girl. So at this time of life, she's a girl. She's going to leave school.
She's going to learn how to type.
Yeah, she's going to learn how to type. She's going to marry a man, and she's going to pop out some kids. So that's her life.
Let's get it.
So Myra at the time wanted that and was ready for that. She was like, all right, let's leave school. Let's start this whole shebang going.
Famdamily.
Well, she also got super into religion at this point, which LOL for Myra being into religion. I'm like, really? Really? In 1958, she started taking classes in the Catholic faith at a monastery of St. Francis, I believe it's called. She had her first communion that same year, so she was like really committed to it. Her family was super happy about this. They gave her this white prayer book that was inscribed and shit. And that was later taken into evidence when she abducted and murdered children with her shithead existentialist wannabe boyfriend.
So they took in her prayer book as evidence against her.
We'll talk about it. So then she starts, so she's super religious now. She's dressing modestly. She's got a set of morals for herself. She's decided that she is not going to have premarital sex. She's a virgin at this point, so she's like, I'm saving myself for marriage. Okay. That's her thing. So she started working at a car sales place as like a temp clerk kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, who really gives a shit what she was doing there?
Literally couldn't give a fuck less.
But everything was going fine. People there thought she was fine. Then one day she gets her paycheck, and they used to give the paychecks in cash.
Oh, what a dream.
She left, or bad. She left, and she comes running back crying and saying she lost the envelope on the way home.
I don't believe you.
Well, all of her coworkers, they felt really bad for her. And they were like, oh, that's awful. You just lost like a whole week's of pay. Like, that just sucks. So they all pooled their own money together to give her paycheck back.
This lying sack of shit her money back.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, that was really sad. Poor her. And then a couple of weeks later, the exact same thing happens.
Oh, isn't it so sad how like some people, it's always them.
Just accidents happen. You know what I mean? So the coworkers didn't believe that shit.
No, they were like, you got our money last week.
As soon as it happened the first time, they were like, no, that doesn't happen. So they were like, no. So they start being very weary of her because all of a sudden she's like trying to con them out of their own paychecks.
Yeah, she's literally a con
like,
woman.
No, thank you. Now this probably, helped her practice for conning the grieving mother of a child she tortured to death.
Probably.
Out of campaigning for her to stay in prison forever. So good for her for, practicing ahead of time.
Con woman of the century.
Yeah.
Practice your craft.
Exactly. So then in her late teens, she suddenly decided, I want to change.
Again.
I want to change my look. She's like, I'm getting a little bored of my look. She used to have dark hair. Like I said, she was ugly as sin.
Not cute.
Nothing helped her. She was right till the end. Sorry.
I was going to say.
Not sorry.
I know that she lightened her hair, but it
do
doesn't always do a lot for people.
If anything, it just drew attention to that mug of hers.
Sometimes it makes it worse.
Kind of did.
Bleaching your hair is not always necessary.
Yeah, because this is what she did. She dyed her hair platinum blonde for the first time.
We're not all meant to be platinum, Myra.
No.
Just me.
She started wearing heavier makeup. She really went with eye makeup, like heavy lined eyes. Because again, this is like, the 60s.
Somebody on Twitter said that she looked like a drag queen. And I was like, how dare you drag queens like that?
Well, I think my response was she wishes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does wish, because drag queens
She
are
does.
way more beautiful.
Yeah, no, this girl was not. But so she's wearing more makeup, and she's wearing her hair in that big poofy bouffant, like 60s hairstyle,
like the beehive.
Yeah, and her sister Maureen, who was the younger sister, remember, started doing the exact same thing.
Cute.
She didn't dye her hair blonde; she kept it dark, but she was doing the eye makeup. They look very similar in pictures. Just one is black hair, one is blonde hair.
Sorry, Maureen.
Which is sad because you're like, she obviously looked up to her, and they were so close.
Yeah, that
she
is
felt
sad.
that.
That'd be like if you just became a crazy murderer.
Exactly, and you'd be like, that's a bummer.
That'd be real weird. I'd be like, who am I going to do this podcast
That'd
with?
be real weird. Well, she started getting a little attention from men.
Oh.
So she was like, because honestly, platinum blonde, sometimes it doesn't matter what's under it. It's just a platinum blonde.
That's
like, a
very
lot of
true.
people are very, like, just immediately attracted to that hair color because
Yeah.
it's, like, bold and...
Right.
And whoa, you know what I mean? And especially at that time, in the 60s, you're not seeing a ton of platinum blondes walking around, like peroxide blondes. So all of a sudden, men are like paying attention. And she's like, hey-o. So she's liking this.
She's like, I'm Myra. Give me
she's
your
like,
paycheck.
What's up? I'm Myra. I'm going to murder people later. But she's now, remember, she's newly religious. So although she's liking this attention, she's still trying to be very modest. And she doesn't want
Modest
it.
with her platinum blonde
Yeah.
hair.
So she's trying to, like, get the attention, but she doesn't really want it. Which
Right.
I'm like, anybody else, I'd be like, get it. But it's
a fun game.
Myra. So when she was around 17 years old, she was reintroduced to a guy who she had gone to school with. She had known for most of her life, but she hadn't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
His name was Ronnie Sinclair. And they started dating, and everything was fine. She later described him as, like, boring and kind of reminding her of her father in the way that, not in, like, the abusive way.
I was going to say,
But in the way that he was very working class. And, like, she said he always had grease under his fingernails.
how horrible.
Yeah, Myra and Ian have such god complexes. Like, they both think that they are
Above
higher
it all.
than everybody. And she said he used to have grease under his fingernails, and it reminded her of her father, like this working guy.
That just means he's earning his paycheck.
But he wasn't a bad guy. Like,
No.
he wasn't abusive. He was just a nice guy.
He just worked.
Exactly. And they started dating, and when she turned 18, he proposed.
Cute.
And she was very excited about this at first, like super psyched. And
it's a big
she
deal.
told her parents, and her dad was psyched. But her mom was like, I'm not psyched. And she was like, why? And she was like, this is your first boyfriend.
Yeah,
Like,
you need to get out and see the
marry your
world.
first boyfriend, which I'm like, good for Nellie.
That's
Being
good
like,
advice.
You know, because she could have just saddled her down and been like, this is your life now, deal with it.
Right.
But then you look back and you're like, maybe you should have married Ronnie.
Yeah.
Because maybe, I don't know, would all this have happened if somebody didn't, like, go along with you to do it? I don't know. So she's not psyched about it. So suddenly she's like, all right, Mom, whatever. And then all of a sudden she's like, you know what, you're kind of right. Mm-hmm. And she starts seeing things that are annoying her about him. And she's looking around saying, I don't want this life. I don't want to be saddled with anybody. So this is already starting the wheels turning. Now, December 1960, she switched jobs. She's not at the car place anymore. She switched a couple of times to different jobs as, like, a typist, but she never really stuck anywhere
I told
for
you
long.
she had to learn how to type.
She was
I
a
knew it.
typist. And she ended up getting a job as a typist/secretary at Millward's Merchandising.
Okay.
This is where she met Ian Brady.
Ian Footface Brady.
She said it was love at first sight.
Doubt it. Wasn't it
oh,
not?
Oh, I think it was love at first sight for her.
For her,
Oh,
but
no,
not for-
she's saying for her.
Oh, okay.
She rightly admits he did not pay attention to her at all.
I love that.
Now, she referred to it later as, quote, an instant fatal attraction.
Oh.
And he was not interested in her at all at first. He completely ignored her, and she was obsessed.
And I feel like people like Myra, too, like being ignored makes you want it even more.
Exactly. And I think it was also having to do with her newly blonde hair and the way she was doing all her stuff, to like all the makeup and
That
everything.
smoky eye.
She was getting a little attention. So the fact that he wasn't part of that attention, she was like, why isn't he turning and looking at me, kind of thing. I think
Like,
that
I
was
have
what it
these
was.
abilities with my icy blonde hair.
She's like, I have peroxide hair now.
She's like, you know how much my fucking scalp burned to do this?
She's like, everyone loves peroxide hair.
It's true.
He actually says later he did not like her peroxide hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'll discuss it more later, but to me, he saw her as his equal later in their desire to cause chaos. And he saw her as someone who was as ruthless as he was, and someone who he could be very confident around because she worshipped him so much.
Yeah. So it
And
was
I
never
think it
a
was
matter
someone
of
like-
attraction physically.
I think she was very attracted to him, but I do not think he was attracted to her at any point. I just don't.
All right.
I mean, who knows? He's never said he was. So he's very cold.
That would lead you to believe that he was not.
Yeah, I don't know. So Ian Brady, he is known as the most hated man in Britain. They have good nicknames. Yeah, they have good nicknames. She's the most evil woman. He's the most hated man.
Oh, okay.
He was born January 2nd, 1938. He's a Capricorn.
Loves a Capricorn.
We love a Capricorn.
She's a Leo, in case you were wondering.
And he's a Capricorn, and that makes me sad. He was born in Glasgow, Scotland.
Okay.
And his mother was 19-year-old Maggie Peggy Stewart. Mm-hmm. And he was born in Rotten Row Maternity Hospital.
That makes a lot of sense.
Which I was like, wow.
Sorry if you were born there.
That's quite a name, I will say. He was actually initially named Ian Duncan Stewart because her last name was Stewart.
Okay.
So his father was not present. He possibly died a few months before his birth. That's what he was told.
Uh-huh.
That's what I found in a lot of sources. But then he later said that he didn't think he died and that he was led to believe that maybe he just left.
Okay.
And but his mom didn't want him to know that.
That's nice.
His mom was a good mom.
Oh.
She struggled. But to me,
she was 19.
She cared
Yeah.
about him and tried to do the right thing with him.
So what's her deal?
So what's her deal? So she was a waitress at a tea room. She was 19 years old. So she decided that she was trying to take care of him. But what's happening was she wanted to go back to work so she could make money to afford the room she was renting.
Mm-hmm. And
but she needed somebody to take care of him. She couldn't afford somebody to take care of him, so she couldn't get a job. She couldn't get the job.
It was a bad cycle.
It was a cycle of things. So then she does kind of a strange thing. She puts up this like advertisement at a local in like a shop window. Mm-hmm. And it says that she'll pay someone £1 a week to look after Ian while she worked.
Okay.
And
so
it was
you're
kind
inviting
of
literally anyone.
Well, no, it was kind of an unofficial adoption, basically. She wanted to be able to see him and she wanted to stay in his life, but she needed someone that could essentially take care of him.
Okay, so like not like watch him like a babysitter.
No, not like a babysitter. She was asking for someone to basically
to
raise
openly
him,
adopt
and she
him.
wanted to be part of this.
So an open adoption.
Yeah, and so she saw this as the only way that he was going to get like a real life.
That's
she
really sad. I mean, to make that decision.
Yeah, I feel bad. And so this woman named Mary Sloan and her husband John Sloan saw this, and they were like, "We will take him."
Uh-huh.
They had 2 daughters, Jean and May, and a son named Robert already. Ian was like 4 months old by this point.
Okay, so at least he's not like old enough to remember being like given
and
away.
They were happy to take him. They were known as a warm and loving family.
Good.
They were also not super. They were pretty poor themselves, but they took care of their kids.
Right.
And that's all that really mattered. She was like, as long as you can feed him and house him and like,
give him
love
love
him, that's what I want. So he was told very early on that they were not his biological parents.
Okay.
And he was fine. And he called them Ma and Da.
Ma and Da.
Yeah.
Shut
up. So Scottish. I love it. And he said they were super nice to him. They loved him. They gave him everything he needed. He never felt neglected.
Yeah.
But he said he inherently felt like kind of an outsider because he knew he wasn't one of the siblings. Mm-hmm. But he still was very close with all of them.
That's understandable.
But he was a good kid. He had a lot of friends. Again, good home life. And he even says later that he was like, I was pretty spoiled for them being like as bad off as they were financially. He's like, we lived in like a 2-bedroom house with a bathroom outside. And he was like, but they literally spoiled me. Like I was the baby of the family. And his mother came all the time. She came every night and all weekend.
Okay, so that's amazing.
Yeah. And so she would bring him gifts. She would bring him clothes. Whatever she could afford to bring him, she would shower him
So she
with.
cared about him. And these people were obviously great people to
allow all this to happen.
They're essentially taking another person into their home.
Exactly. And he eventually was told that this woman was his mother. They were like, this is your real mother. He was happy about it. He was like, cool, so I get to hang with her.
This is like a weird, almost like Ted Bundy-esque
It's very weird.
Except she was like his aunt for a minute.
And except they were so honest with him. Like, they were like, these are not your real parents. Here's your mother. This is the situation.
Right.
And he was like, cool.
It was like Ted Bundy done right.
Everyone was happy and harmonious. Everything was fine. He did great in school. He excelled in writing and English, just like Myra.
Interesting.
He says he didn't believe in God right from the jump. Okay. He immediately questioned religion and was an atheist. He was like, right from the jump. In fact, he said at Sunday school, which they all went to, they would ask, like, who believes in God? And he would
wouldn't
say,
raise his
not
hand.
me. Like, he would immediately say it. Like, he had right from the get-go. No
Yeah.
reason for it. He just said, I just
feel like
always
people
felt that way.
Are gonna get mad that I laughed at that.
Oh, whatever.
Okay.
I'm like atheist agnostic, so
I'm agnostic. I
Yeah.
don't necessarily
So-
believe like God, but I know like something's out there.
yeah, something's going on, and I don't know what. And everybody is entitled to their own
Yeah,
beliefs.
I have respect.
I would never
for-
tell someone they can't believe in God or
Whatever
Jesus
you
or whatever
believe.
you want to believe in. Believe what you want to believe.
I believed in Santa for a long time.
There you go. So, again, he was doing great. He ended up learning to play the piano. They taught
That's
him how to
hard.
play the piano. He loved classical music from a young age.
Psychopath.
He read Hey, I like classical music.
I'm kidding.
He read voraciously, which stuck with him for his whole life. He was
That's cool.
a crazy reader.
Yeah.
And one big event in his early life that was pretty traumatizing, kind of like Myra, was when he was playing a game with his friends called Catch the Hudgie.
What is a hudgie?
Well, the game was that these kids would wait for a passing van or like a truck or a car.
I already hate this.
They would jump onto the back of it and hold on to whatever they could hold on to on the back of it. And then they would just hold on as long as they could and jump off.
That sounds so early 60s,
Yes.
like late 70s.
This was actually like 50s.
Okay, there it is.
So-
it sounds old.
It does. Well, one day they were playing this and a boy jumped on, but he slipped off prematurely, rolled under the wheels of a truck that was behind the van. And Ian said he didn't see anything but a brown child's shoe filled to the brim with blood in the middle of the road.
Oh,
So that's kind of traumatizing, I'd say.
that will change you.
Yeah, that's no good. And at one point, his birth mother, Maggie, met a man who wanted to move to Australia.
So Maggie left?
No. Ian said, so he was like, she was like, Ian, I would like you to come with us. And he was like, no, I don't want to leave the Sloanes. Like,
these
they're
are
my
my
family
family.
and my friends are here. So his mother refused to leave him and just left the man.
Wow.
Which I was like, Maggie.
If that had only happened to me.
Maggie.
Shit.
Right?
Shit.
Like, that's good momming.
That is
right
good
there.
momming.
Like, good for Maggie.
You don't just take your kid to Australia.
Because I feel for Maggie.
I do too.
I do. Because
'Cause
she
yeah.
tried her best with him.
She
And there was
absolutely
just, she couldn't do anything. He
Well,
was who he was.
Yeah.
But
oh,
then-
fuck, that's the holy shit. At the end of this, she gets mega screwed over.
She does.
She should have gone to Australia.
She should have just went to Australia because it
God
wouldn't have
damn.
mattered anyway.
Nope.
But then his mother met a man named Patrick Brady. And they decided to move to Manchester, England, so away from Glasgow.
I was like, wait, they lived there already.
No,
but
Myra
that was
lived
Myra.
there.
Yeah.
This made it difficult for Maggie and Ian to see each other all the time. So
Okay.
the visits are starting to dwindle. They are keeping in touch, but he starts rebelling a little bit.
And he's like
acting
a
out.
teen almost.
He's like a young kid. He's like a young teen, I'd say. Like, so this started to, it bothered him a little bit.
Yeah.
But it didn't become like a big thing. Like, he doesn't talk about it like it was, he was like, we saw each other sometime,
Yeah.
or like talked, like it was fine. And he ends up really liking Patrick Brady. They
Cool.
like get along very well.
He becomes Ian Brady. so-
Exactly. This is when he begins. Everybody said that they noticed he was bringing like a little like flip knife around with him all the time, which is not like out of the ordinary, especially boys.
Well,
of
teenage
that
boys
times.
fucking love knives.
Well, then he started becoming a bully, and he
Yeah.
was starting to become like a real alpha, and he was making kids fight each other. He was
That's
getting into
weird.
fights. He had to, and then he started hanging out with troublemakers, and these troublemakers were at his beck and call, kind of thing. Like, it was and that actually stayed throughout his life.
As soon as we get into like making other people fight, that's
Yeah.
just bizarre and yucky.
Yeah, and this is something that was his whole life. He was a bully his whole life. He was kind of an alpha his
And
whole
he had
life.
like a pack of
and he always
followers,
had someone who could do shit for him or with him.
like Myra.
Yeah. So there is a rumor. There's a lot of rumors that come with Ian in particular. Myra doesn't get as many like rumors about her upbringing as he does. So a lot of times people want to find a reason.
Right.
So people will associate things with people that just aren't true.
Right.
One of the stories that gets told is that one day he tied this kid to a pole and got some newspaper, put it around the pole, wrapped him in it, and he tells all his friends who are there, I'm going to light him on fire and watch him burn to death.
Oh.
And the other kids are like, huh, what? Like, they're like, excuse me?
Oh, well, what?
And then he lights a match and throws it on the newspaper.
Now this isn't true.
The kids freaked out. They got the kid untied. They saved him. Ian was pissed that they let him go. And the only kid, but the problem is the only kid who is saying this is the kid who was tied to the pole. He's the only one that tells this story.
Well, yeah.
All the other kids don't say
Because they
that this
didn't want
happened.
to go against
And Ian, though, now, well, now he's dead. But when he was alive,
When he was, yeah.
he denied this. He was like, that never happened. He's like, what this kid is thinking of was role play. We would always play like war games and like fucked up games when we were little. Like
Yeah.
we were fucked up kids. Like that's what happened.
Yeah.
He was like, we were like jumping on cars and holding on. Like we did weird shit.
Right.
And he was like, we would pretend to be like war criminals and like hold people. And he's like, I never lit anyone on fire. I never tried to.
Well, and he admitted all the horrible things
Well,
he
and
did.
he admits to raping, torturing, and murdering children with like no hesitation at
He's
all.
like, yeah, I did that.
Like there's really no reason to deny that. And he says it. He's like, I think people just are looking for little like signs. And he's like, there really wasn't. I was just a shithead. Like that's just how it is.
That's weird.
And it's like I don't know what to believe with that. I'll believe the kid who said it happened.
I was gonna
That's
say,
what I'll do.
Yeah.
That's
what I'll do.
You know what, guys? That's what I'm gonna do. You heard it here first. I'm gonna believe the kid that was tied to the pole.
So that's typically
You
who
do
should
whatever you
believe.
want.
Not the guy sitting in the jail cell.
Yeah, exactly. And so in 1946, when he was like 8 or 9 years old, the Sloanes took him and his siblings on vacation to Loch Lomond.
Mm-hmm.
He said that this was the first time, because he had lived in like cities, in like small, like slummy kind of cities too.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the first time he'd seen wide open spaces. Which anybody who's like never been around wide open spaces can attest.
It's overwhelming.
If you like the first time you just are like,
It's like the first time we went to the Berkshires. I was like,
yeah,
whoa.
it just blows your mind. Like it's
Yeah.
just something different that you've
Yeah.
never seen. So he says, quote, I was shattered by the sense of vastness. This new sense of reality and freedom was intoxicating. I was encountering the naked essence of life itself. This was the earth in cinemascope.
That's exactly what I thought the first time we went to the Berkshires.
That's exactly what went through
The
your brain.
earth in cinema
The earth
scope.
in cinemascope.
No, I was just like, whoa, that's big.
Well, and the reason I say this is because this was his first time where he was like, wow, like the beauty of wide open spaces. And later he would use Saddleworth Moor as this awful nightmare place, but he spent so much time on it and it became such a giant fixture in his life
Yeah, that is weird.
that it became something he like loved. So this was the first time he was exposed to that. And I think it's important.
No, I just keep thinking, into the great wide open.
There you go.
And I don't want to be thinking about Tom Petty while I'm thinking about Ian Brady.
You really don't. So his first girlfriend was like 11. He was like 11 years old. I know I said that
She
weird.
was like 11. And I was
You
like,
know what?
what?
Would it be shocking?
No.
No, he was like 11 years old when he had his
That's
first
not a real
girlfriend. I shouldn't have said it like that.
No, it's okay.
And early on, this is just a very interesting thing that comes up a little later. He discovered very early on that when he kissed someone, he liked to kiss them violently. He described it as violently, which to me, I was like, oh,
that
like I had a
overwhelms
very
me.
visceral reaction to reading that. I was like, no.
That makes me feel yuck.
And then I was like, what does that mean?
Did he just like grab their head?
He said he liked like when your teeth knock together.
Oh.
And he said he liked when blood would flow into your mouth and mix with the other person's
That's
blood.
never happened in my experience of making out with
Like
anyone.
he liked to draw blood when he kissed people.
Yeah.
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 And he was like, yeah, that's not weird at all. It's like, no, Ian, that's weird. So in 1950, that's when his mother married Patrick Brady. And Ian took his last name. Now, Ian starts at this point committing, so he's like an early preteen. He's committing break-ins. And he now has a gang
Petty
of like
theft.
troublemakers. And they're breaking into houses. They're stealing shit. He says sometimes they would just go in for the thrill of it and wouldn't steal anything.
Okay.
But it became a lifelong thing where he would steal and burglarize. He began dating a girl. I'm not going to name her because I can't really find...
Because that poor girl.
And I don't really know if it's her actual name that people are using, so I'm not even going to say it. We're going to call her Emma.
I like that.
So he started dating a girl named Emma for a while. He was obsessed with her, and he was obsessed with eyes. He had a thing with women's eyes.
He would have loved you.
I know. And
Oh, shit.
it gets even better. Ready?
No.
He was obsessed with almond-shaped eyes.
Girl, run. And you have like fucking orange eyes, which is the weirdest.
It's a little scary. So he said that over and over again, that eyes, almond-shaped eyes were like his thing, and he was always very...
I can't picture Myra's
Myra
eyes.
does not have almond-shaped eyes. She has big eyes.
So he's like, fuck her.
And he did say that her eyes were the one thing he found.
She does have
pretty.
giant eyes now that I'm picturing.
And he did mention that her eyes were the thing that like he actually
He was like, I can get past the rest of her.
He was like, I can pretend the rest of it isn't
Just
there.
look at the eyes. Look at the eyes.
But
knock her teeth out.
These two, Emma and him, dated like on and off throughout their lives, kind of like they were like passing by.
Emma was the one that got away.
I think she was,
It
and
sounds
like
it.
they were always dating other people and kind of like fucking around on each other, and then they would just come back together and then break up again. It was just one of those things. But one quote he had about her, I was like, yeah, that shows you exactly who he is as a person.
Oh, no.
He said, quote, "Her ears were shell-like, small and pink. My only interest in them was that I wanted to bite them."
Okay. That's Annie told me today that I had small ears.
Maybe she wanted to bite them.
Did you want to bite my ears?
Hell no. So when he was 15 years old, he also left school.
Bye.
Because again, that's kind of like the age at that point.
You know, when you just leave school.
That's the age when you just dip out of school.
I've tried.
So people, you did.
I did.
You gave it a valiant effort to get out of there.
I barely went.
Yeah. So people say, this is another thing. People say he became obsessed with Nazis and shit.
Oh, fuck.
But in his own words, he was fascinated by Nazis, and he was fascinated by like Hitler and the whole thing. Again,
fascinating.
The World War had just occurred. And he said, but I was fascinated as much as anyone else was.
Yeah.
And he said he wasn't obsessed. He really didn't like seek out a ton of information. He would read a book here and there. But he was like, the whole thing started after they were arrested for the Moors murders, because it kind of helped people validate their own feelings of being like tied up with some ideology like Nazism.
Right,
you know
right,
what I mean?
right.
So he basically thinks people who are obsessed with Nazis and Hitler also want to bring him into that and just be like,
Look at
"See,
these people.
You are, and you're great," you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But other sources I've read contradict that. And they say, no, he would read, Mein Kampf, and he would read a lot of like German stuff. And he always wanted to be the German Nazi soldier when they played war games, and he would do Nazi salutes. And like, he at one point I read that he collected Nazi memorabilia. But again, he's an unreliable source because he's a bullshitter.
Right.
So he himself says he wasn't more into it than anyone else, but take from that what you will.
Yeah.
Because we'll never know.
It is weird that he, like we said earlier, will admit to like torturing
yeah.
and murdering children, but not
Yeah.
what happened before that.
But then later we're going to see soon that like little bits of this Nazi stuff do creep in.
Well, and
so
to
me, I think he was a little fascinated by it, more fascinated than most.
And I think it's almost kind of a scare tactic for him to be like, no, I'm just like this.
Yeah,
like, there
I'm
was
just-
no lead up to
Nothing
it.
brought no signs. No
So
one
I
would have
think
known.
maybe he probably was.
I bet he was. I would say he
At
was
least
probably
mildly into
more
it.
fascinated than most of us.
Yes.
And maybe brought it into a weird place.
Because I'm actually not fascinated.
Yeah,
in the
I don't want to know
slightest.
anything about it, but like, so history is history. Historians are, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I think he was definitely at a different level than
Sure,
that.
sure.
Now he and his gang of thieves got caught,
And
they got
they're
caught
like 15.
because someone snitched, which is
Snitches
bad.
get stitches.
So he found out who this guy was.
And he tied him to a tree and lit him on fire.
No, and waited 10 years for his revenge.
Well, that's just fucked
He
up.
said, quote, "I found his address and went up the stairs of his block 10 years later in order to knock on the door and shoot him in the head. As I approached this door, a woman came out of another door on the same landing to beat a carpet on the stair rail. I remember she was using a clover-shaped beating stick. I had to turn away and walk down the stairs. On such little things, people's lives depend."
What the fuck?
Like, holy shit.
Damn.
Like, he's just like, weird.
You got me in trouble when I was 15, so I'm gonna shoot you, but this lady with her clover beaten stick saved yo ass.
Yeah, and then he's just like, such weird things
Funny.
that people's lives depend.
Life is so funny, isn't
Like,
it?
fucking Ian's such a dick. Like, he's just, when you hear him talk, you're just like, oh, God.
I get like Ed Kemper vibes where he just fucking loves to talk
he
about
does.
himself.
He definitely has Ed Kemper vibes in the sense that he likes to talk about himself, but Ian Brady, unfortunately, was highly intelligent. Like,
Ed Kemper is too, though,
he
right?
was too, but on, like, a different way. I don't know how to explain it. It's like,
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Ian's like very far
Sure.
up the scale. Unfortunately, it's not a good thing. But he also discovered around this time that he was bisexual.
Cool.
And it turns out that Myra was also bisexual.
Okay.
And this might have been something else that, like, they had in common, that they felt. Because, again, at the time, it's not like
not
everyone was
common.
running around being like, I'm bi.
Right.
And so I think.
I don't know. Was there even a
having-
word for it at that point?
I don't even know. So I think them having that in common at that point also drew them together once they discovered it.
They had some stuff in common.
Yeah. So the gang, the gang of thieves that he ran around with, they got caught several times. And Ian had a few probations, like a few times where he had to serve probation. But that comes back for him later as well.
That's
so,
good.
I think the last thing that people usually get wrong about Ian, and this one they actually do get wrong because it's proven, he denies harming any animal. And I know this is like a thing because when I read it, I was like, oh, good for you. Like you murdered children.
Except
but okay,
children.
glad you didn't hurt a squirrel. But a lot of people like will say these whole things of like how he was murdering, he was killing animals and skinning them.
Because
and
it's
all
a
this.
sign again.
Because it's one of those things that you just expect to be in every
trademark of a murderer.
like a Jeffrey Dahmer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's adamant that the rumors about him harming animals are completely untrue. And he has had, so when he was younger and living with the Sloanes, he had 3 rabbits, a big gray called Jenny, a black one named Harry, and a small one named Smokey.
Oh.
He had a black and silver German Shepherd called Una, and a Cocker Spaniel named Sheila, and everyone who knew him said that when Sheila died, he was inconsolable.
That's like, was it Israel Keyes who was super attached to his animals? And
Yeah.
it's a weird thing.
And he wouldn't go to a house with an animal in it. Yeah. He and Myra later, because Myra also loved animals,
Weird.
and him and Myra later got a dog and named it Puppet. And they loved that dog. They treated that dog very well. And you can see that pup in some of the happy photos they took together on Saddleworth Moors.
Oh, wow.
The ones that they took after they would bury a victim there, and they would mark the graves with a happy smiling photo of Myra holding the dog
I didn't know that was
on
a
the
thing.
graves. Yeah. That's how they, and we'll talk about it later, but on like the second part.
like a
but
weird
that's
form of animal
actually
abuse.
That's actually where they found a lot of the victims' graves, was by those photos.
Wow.
Yeah. So in the Daily Mail, they had an article about this, and they said that a lot of sources will claim things like he imprisoned cats, he, crucified frogs, he would slice up caterpillars, he would behead rabbits and put their heads on a pike, and that later he got a job at a slaughterhouse, and that's where he really got a taste for blood and gore.
No, that was just the making out.
That's all, exactly. That's all untrue. He never worked in a slaughterhouse. He was a butcher delivery kid once.
So
would
they got the story
meat,
wrong.
But he never worked in a slaughterhouse. And he cried when his dog died. And also when he was younger, he remembers this very vivid thing of seeing a horse being injured and seeing the horse being put down, and it destroyed him until he died.
That is sad.
In fact, the way he describes it is this. He said, and the reason I'm saying this is because you're going to see how he goes very deep into how the emotions of this horse were the thing that seeing the terror in his eyes bothered him.
So he can
And I'm
identify emotion.
But you saw terror in children's eyes, and you what?
It's on a different
It's
wavelength.
very
for them.
strange. It's such a dichotomy of. He has 2 very weird compartmentalized versions of
He's
himself.
a Capricorn.
I know. I don't know. So he said, quote, "It lay there with its massive sides heaving, and its breath steaming the frosty air. I was near enough to touch the large head. I can still see the great liquid eyes rolling in terror, looking up in the gray Glasgow morning sky. Its great fettocks raked the air, beraggled and wet. A man appeared from nowhere to erect a canvas screen around the Clydesdale. They were going to kill the horse. Even I knew it. My chest was bursting, and I began to cry. I fought my way through the mass of bodies and ran to Camden Street, trying to hold on to the bag of hot rolls with my hands clapped over my ears. I sat on the tenement stairs until the tears dried up, before taking the rolls to Ma. I was afraid to wander near the spot where the horse had died. I couldn't bear to see the remains of bloodstains and hairs. I couldn't rid the event and scene from my mind." And then he said, "Many years later, I saw something in a dark railway arch that triggered the image of that Clydesdale, suddenly changing my relaxed mood to one of ice-cold fury and leading to a frenzied knife attack on a man in the street. I didn't hang around to check whether it was fatal. It was enough for me to feel that the Clydesdale had been avenged. So he just knifed a man
To feel better. About
because he had a
seeing-
case of the SADS from seeing an injured horse when he was little.
What?
No, sir. That is not how that works.
No, that's not how we process trauma.
I saw a cat run over by a car on Halloween night when I was like 12.
That's horrible.
I didn't knife anyone because of it.
glad.
I don't feel I need to avenge that cat. I feel bad about it, but like I'm not going to go avenge somebody.
No.
Like that's fucked. And it just shows like how can he feel that way about an animal?
That's the weirdest thing to me because, like, what?
Yeah. Well, either way, the way he says it is, I could never have brought myself to kill sheep or cattle, but the idea of killing people never bothered me in the least.
Obviously.
Which to me, the one thing I can say is it seems to me like he started realizing that he just liked animals more than people. That's
yeah,
just,
which
you
a
know
lot
what
of
I mean?
people do, actually.
Yeah, and he just kind of was like, this is, I enjoy, which I mean, I enjoy animals more than a lot of people.
Same.
Not to that extent, though.
I like my cats a lot better than I like anybody else.
And to prove his commitment to animals, the proceeds from his autobiography entitled Black Light, by the way, he wrote an
So
autobiography.
metal.
He had it split between 4 pet charities.
He really should have
So
given
he
it to the
actually-
victims' families.
Well, I'm like, why are you such a shit person?
Isn't that a thing now? If you write a book from jail, it goes to the victims'
it's like
families.
a different law, but back then it was not.
So you think that you know your dog best, huh?
Yeah, I do.
Well, what genetic risk factors affect their breed?
I don't know.
What does your dog's grandma look like?
I don't know.
Are you working side by side with your vet to provide the best care for your dog?
Help me.
You are. But if you're unsure, you over there, or answered no to any of those questions, then you need to order the Embark Dog Breed and Health Kit. From breed traits to genetic risk factors for health conditions, Embark provides the best resources to help you and your vet best tailor care to your dog's specific needs. Embark can identify over 350 breeds, types, and varieties, and screen for over 175 genetic health conditions to help your vet best provide the care for your medical dog. Embark can give you a leg up when it comes to knowing their health history. That's what happened to us with Bailey, right, Lainey?
Sure is.
She's my dog, too. We learned the risk factors she could be in danger of and were able to tell her vet to look out for them. It's even given us peace of mind I think everyone would want when it comes to their dog's health. Embark was developed by PhDs and veterinarians and is the #1 trusted source for breed detection and accuracy. Plus, every dog that gets tested helps contribute to their research into discovering and treating new genetic diseases in dogs to extend the lives of all dogs. This summer, Embark has a limited time offer for just our listeners. Go to embarkvet.com now and use promo code MORBID to get $50 off your dog breed and health kit. Visit embarkvet.com and use promo code MORBID to get $50 off today. Embarkvet.com and use promo code MORBID.
So this is when he got the job as the butcher's delivery driver. Mm-hmm. And he used this job to case houses for burglarizing.
Great.
Yeah. So he bounced around from job to job a bit.
He's like, here's your steak. Got any valuables?
He's like, just want to check around real quick. He ended up getting an apprentice job at a shipyard. And he was just doing like loading things and working in the market there. And in 1953, at 15 years old, he got caught again for burglarizing. And this time he was charged with 9 counts of burglary.
Damn.
He ended up going on probation again. But this time they were like, the Sloan family, his family, was sure by this point. They were like, he's going to go to prison. Because they were like,
They're like, it's caught up to him.
Yeah, they were like, I don't think, because he was initially given probation, but then he had to appear again for a couple more counts.
Well, and he kept breaking probation.
And they were like, I'm pretty sure they're going to give him jail time now. Like, I don't think he's going to get out of this. But the judge was like, no, it's fine. We'll just deport you from Scotland.
But that's where he was from, right?
Yeah.
Where were they going to deport him to?
Anywhere but Scotland, which is a bummer for him because he loves Scotland.
Yeah,
but
because it's
like,
his birthplace.
Yeah, it's where he lives. So they were like, all right, you can leave now. So he was like, cool.
Where do
I
I
guess
go?
I'll go live with Maggie, my birth mother, in Manchester, because she's living in Manchester with Patrick Brady,
All right.
my stepfather.
Glory,
So
glory, man united.
He was devastated to leave the Sloan family, but he was like, you know what? It'll be nice to live with my birth mother.
And he literally had no other choice.
So he was like, and I have to. Right. So
And also, gotta go.
can't feel anything about this because I just have to.
He was like, I don't want to go,
But I
gotta go.
Well, eventually he fell in with some friends there once he moved. Like it was pretty quick that he felt pretty comfortable. You know, he was just drinking at pubs and chasing girls. He was just like being a person
And doing petty theft.
He could do a petty theft. He got like his own little gang again. It was like everything was fine. He actually got a nickname, Mac the Knife.
I don't like
They
that one. It's
originally
stupid.
called him Mac, but then
Yeah.
they changed it to Mac the Knife. And accordingly, he only liked to be called Mac. He did not like Mac the Knife.
Because it's stupid.
But not because it's stupid. It was because he didn't like people knowing he carried a knife all the time because he was very obsessed with surprising his enemies.
Oh, good.
So he didn't
Awesome.
like that it gave them like a heads up that he had a knife.
Ooh, did you hear that thunder?
That was crazy thunder.
It's Bugsy from Below Deck.
I don't know what that is.
It's okay.
Okay. So he grew very close to his stepfather, to Patrick Brady. The neighbors around them said they all seemed very happy together living there.
Yeah.
That Ian was always very respectful of his stepfather and his mom. But some other neighbors were like, yeah, he was pretty quiet and like fine and respectable. But sometimes he would make some like racist remarks.
Oh.
So it's like, oh no.
Well, and you said like the Nazis.
Yeah, so to me, that's like further proof that
right.
he kind of had that ideology. So this is around this time is when he started buying cameras, and he became very obsessed with filming things, which obviously comes back later.
That's one of the 22 tendencies of a sociopath. I just
As
said.
he
Of
was
a
a sociopath. He was a different kind of path. He
Of a
was a sociopath.
Actually, it's of a sexual sadist.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
Yeah.
he was that. So, well, while at work one day, this was a big thing. This truck driver or a lorry driver pulled up and asked Ian, you know, will you
See, it's contagious.
It's hard. It's hard to talk. So he said, will you load this sack of lead seals? It was like this equipment. He said they'd been discarded on the docks. And he was like, will you load these into my truck? Because I'm going to take them. And apparently it was pretty common for truck drivers to do this and like make some extra money. And Ian just didn't think about it because he was just working as an apprentice. And when a truck driver asked him to do something, he did it.
It was his job.
So he loaded the stuff and just went about his business. Well, it turned out that the lorry driver was selling it and he got caught. The person who bought it from him was like, wait, this is stolen.
Oh.
And he called the police, and the lorry driver was like, Ian did it. Like, basically implicated
Like
him in it.
put past the buck.
Yeah, so suddenly Ian's in trouble, like out of nowhere.
That sucks.
And detectives detained him, they questioned him, but he was like, so he just told them everything because he was like, I figured if anything, I get a fine because I didn't mean to do it.
Right.
And he was like, and it really wasn't that big of a deal anyways, but he was like, so I was honest with them, I told them everything. Well, he was pissed because they put him in front of a judge the next morning, and the judge was like, yeah, you're going to wait 3 months in jail because you pled guilty to this, and the next time we're going to do like these trials for this is 3 months. So he was like, are you fucking kidding me?
That sucks.
So during this time is when he read the book Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. There you go. I can never say it.
I'm
job.
good at German.
Well done.
I had an Oma once.
Well, there you go. Dostoevsky. Is that German or Russian?
I don't know.
I think it might be Russian.
I had an Oma. That's all I know.
Either way, you did great.
Thanks.
I appreciate it. And this is when he starts like reading books on like nihilism and existentialism, and he really considered himself an existentialist. So he believed that, you know, everything is entirely up to him as an individual. He could live in whatever manner he chooses.
No, wrong.
And
You cannot.
He could have his own moral code.
No,
and
it
that's
doesn't
how he
work
believed.
like that.
And again, he was also a nihilist, so he thought that there was really no meaning to life.
Maybe there's not. Maybe you can have that.
Yeah, and he said, you know, the universe has no purpose. There's no one dictating this. There's no fate, and that religion's just really a delusion that people have, and that he was the only one who understood this.
It's like a little bit sad.
It's very sad.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a little.
he had
It's a little too bleak for me.
He was very bleak, that is for sure. And after 3 months, he went back in front of the judge, and they gave him 2 years. And they sentenced him to do these 2 years at like a training camp called a Borstal, which was apparently for people under, I think, the age of 23. And it ended up being like a military kind of
I was
training
gonna say,
thing.
is it like boot camp almost?
Yeah. And he was transferred to Hatfield Borstal, which was a military training camp. And this was specifically for one one for men, or young men, really, boys and men, that they didn't really have a crazy criminal record, and also they were above high intelligence.
Okay.
So this was for like
So
those
he
kind of people.
became Cadet Kelley.
Exactly. Exactly. But after being given a psychological exam, they deemed him unfit for military service.
Makes a lot of sense.
Which, like, good on them. So he was transferred out of there because he got drunk on prison booze one night and attacked a warden. So they transferred him to a very harsh borstal, which was located in Hull Prison. And this is where he spent a ton of time learning to brew his own alcohol. He became an alcoholic then. He became very hardened. He started making lots of contacts with people on the inside that later he could use for like bad shit. And he learned accounting because they realized that because you had to
he learned how to balance the books.
He also was crunching numbers.
He was into assets and the other thing, debts
and debts. No, they just discovered that like he was a really smart guy. He was very talented in numbers, so they were like, you know what, you can do the bookkeeping.
Cool.
And he learned it. I don't know if it helped him later.
It's a very valuable thing to have on your list of things you can do.
I wish I was that good with numbers. But he was released at 19 years old. He went back to Glasgow at this point. And he was eventually just trying out more jobs, going with his probation. But this is when he vowed revenge because he was pissed that he had been put in prison.
I was going to ask
for
you.
one, telling the truth, and two, for something he was like, I was just trying to help this truck driver out. And then he turned on me. He was like, he really wanted to find the truck driver, but he didn't.
I'm surprised he didn't show up at his door 10 years later.
Well, and then he said, quote, if they wanted me to be a criminal, then I thought to myself, I'll be a proper one. And
that's like so teenager.
I
like,
know.
If you think I am, then I'm gonna be it. Like, okay.
Well, and he claimed that he stabbed a guy during this time, and he said about it, he was like, I don't know if he died or not. And then they were like, why'd you do that? And he said, quote, there was a reason. I felt justified at the time. Okay then. Cool. No further questions, Mr. Brady.
What else are you gonna ask?
All right. So his probation officer was like, you need to get a real job. You need to get a career.
You gotta stop stabbing people just because you feel like it.
Stop knifing people.
Listen, mac
Like,
the knife.
fuck.
Drop the knife.
Yeah, like, chill out. And he was 21 years old at this point in 1959, and he was like, fine. So he was like, I'll get an office job.
Okay.
Like,
I'll
fine.
really balance the book.
And he said, quote, if I hadn't been so forced, I wouldn't have ended up with Myra Hindley as my typist and been brought down by existential folly. Before that, all my objectives were mercenary, which means like, motivated by money. He was like, but, then all of a sudden I had a higher purpose.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
So at this point, he had also really come into like personal style at this point. Like pictures you see of him, he's always wearing like a 3-piece suit.
He is pretty stylish.
Like, well, it's weird. Like he just like was, I don't know.
He's jazzy.
Does it fit with his personality? Maybe. I don't know.
His hair is also always like slicked.
Oh, he had a very like that, what's it called?
Bouffant?
Is it a bouffant? No.
Pompadour.
Pompadour.
I almost just said pas de bourrée. He had a pas de bourrée. Like, okay.
He had a ballet move.
Like, what? We're nearing the end and it's very
close.
hot in the attic.
We are. And I was just sitting, I was like, people are screaming at the like stereo that they're listening to.
Pompadour.
Like, Pompadour.
I know, I'm a fucking hairstylist too.
Yeah, he had a pompadour.
Yes.
And like, he just like, he loved the 3-piece suits. He always got them tailored perfectly. He was just very meticulous that way. The reason I say this is because like Myra tried to kind of match that style later. And to be honest, they were a very nicely dressed couple between the two of them.
They loved Banana Republic.
They were
very
real
fancy.
Real high class. So this is when he started working at Millward's Merchandising with Myra
I keep saying Moira.
With Moira.
Because of Schitt's Creek.
This was February 16th, 1959. So initially, like I said, not into her.
Ugly.
Didn't even remember her really when they first met.
Yikes.
He said, quote, and I quote,
oh God,
this is how much a dick he was. Like, he knew how obsessed she was with him. He could at least bullshit later and be like, yeah, I liked her.
Alaina, life doesn't matter, so who cares what you say?
So he said, quote, she was simply the new typist as far as I was concerned. I paid no more attention to her than I did the rest of the females on the staff. That is to say, very little. I can't recall having any memorable conversations with her. It was just standard routine office dialogue. I didn't go for her peroxide hairstyle. Like, what a dick.
Cut and dry.
What a straight up dick. So at this point, she saw Ian. She wanted Ian.
She's like,
immediately.
You like my peroxide hair.
You like
Say
it.
you do.
So she ended up breaking off her engagement to Ronnie.
right.
He was devastated.
Duh.
He obviously tried to get her back. He would like call her all the time. It was
Ronnie,
sad.
it's okay. You won.
You did. You really did. So she also started writing constantly in a journal that she kept at work and locked in her drawer.
It's a weird
The
place
first
to journal.
entry in the journal, Ian looked at me today.
Shut the fuck
No
up.
joke.
Shut the fuck
I'm
up.
just going to give you a couple of other entries because they are
That's sad.
Like, yikes.
Ian looked at me today. And that's enough to journal about.
July 23rd, 1961. Wonder if Ian is courting. Still feel the same.
Okay.
July 25th. Haven't spoken to him yet. July 27th. Spoke to him. He smiles as though embarrassed. I'm going to change. You'll notice that in the way I write.
I'm going to change. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
she's
going to
like,
change
I'm going to change
myself.
for him. Like, you're going to notice
This
it.
is sad.
August 14th. I love Ian all over again. He has a cold and I would love to mother him.
Ew.
Yes,
Get
I
out
know.
of here.
August 24th. I'm in a bad mood because he hasn't spoken to me today.
Meh.
August 29th. I hope he loves me and will marry me someday.
Wow, that escalated quickly.
Yeah. Myra was in trouble because a psychiatrist of Brady said about him, quote, Brady is intelligent, tall, charismatic, engaging, interesting to talk to, widely knowledgeable about certain areas of life, and extremely self-controlled.
I like that she threw tall in there.
Yeah, he is able to dangle you on a string if he knows that you want to know something about him and he doesn't want you to know. If he doesn't want it, you won't learn what it is you want to know.
He sounds like the best time
He
ever.
sounds scary. So,
Sounds like a lot of exes.
in that Guardian article I mentioned that Myra wrote in December 1995, she said, quote, for almost a year during which I broke off my engagement, he took virtually no notice of me. It was a year of emotional torture which I'd never experienced before. I went from loving him to hating him and loving and hating him at the same time. When he smiled or was even a little nice to me, I felt blessed and floated on air. She also explains how she obsessively stalked him outside of work, hoping to see him in bars near his home, and then walking her baby cousin in a stroller by his house, the address of which she overheard him saying on a work call. Yeah.
Shit.
Eventually, all this commitment that she had paid off for.
I mean, work hard for what you get.
Because she was also a voracious reader, and she would read at work on like lunch break, and he would too.
So they had that in common.
So one day he came up to her and was like, what you reading? And they started talking about books, and that was how the conversation began. Then in 1961, their office had their Christmas party, and it was after this party that he asked for their first date. So they met at the Three Arrows pub, they saw a movie afterwards, and after the movie they got another drink and then walked back to Myra's.
I'm confused about why he even wanted to like hang out with her though, if he didn't think of her much.
Well, I think it was because, first of all, like, he could see that she was also into, like, reading.
Yeah.
And then they were interested in the same books. Like, he was like, oh, I want to read that. And she was like, oh, I want to read that. So I think he was starting to see, like, maybe she'll think like I do.
Okay.
So he also just wanted to give it a shot. So they went back to Myra's, and he's walking her there, and they start, like, making out on the street.
And he
He
draws
bit
blood.
her lip the first time they kissed. He also said, because they were like, because again, he's a very violent kisser.
And she
So
loves him.
He felt that she was wearing a girdle under her clothes. And he told her, I don't like girdles. They accumulate stale sweat. And she never wore a girdle again.
He's not wrong.
But I was like, wowzer. I would have been like, all right.
Yeah, right.
Jesus.
I'd be like, this is our first date.
Yeah,
you
I'd be like,
assaulted me and
seriously?
you insulted me.
I'm not into it. So they went out again the next day, which was Christmas Eve. They went to a church service, which he was not psyched about.
I know, like, what?
When they left, he actually peed on the side of the church and said, this is what I think about religion. They then went to Myra's house and fucked by the fire.
All right.
And that's when Myra lost her virginity.
So
Because
she didn't
remember,
save herself for
She
marriage.
was saving it for marriage, but then Ian came sauntering in.
Right after church. Right
With
after
his-
he, like, defecated. Well, he didn't defecate, but
Pissed
right
all
after
over
he
it.
assaulted your church.
Yeah. And then he met her father and mother. Her mother was not into him because her
'Cause
mother
mamas
said
know.
And her mother said, he's like your father.
Oh.
Like, she was like, good try with that. And then the father liked him a lot.
He was like, "You're like
what
me."
up? And she wrote in her diary,
No.
quote, Ian is so gentle, he makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
That's what she wrote about him meeting her dad.
Oh.
To which I say, yikes.
Yeah. Woof.
Now, he had a motorbike that he had gotten recently, and he would just randomly stop by her place without announcing.
Vroom, vroom, Myra.
And she stopped going out with friends or going anywhere just on the chance that he would stop by. So you can already see this is becoming
It's very sad.
a very, like...
It's not even like he was like, you need to be home. She was like,
No,
I
she was
must
like,
be home.
I will be home.
I must see his three-piece suit and perfectly coiffed pompadour.
So you can already see how the power dynamic is in this relationship.
Yes.
To further show how different they viewed their relationship, in 1962, she wrote in her diary, I have been at Millworth's for 12 months and only had just gone out with him. I hope Ian and I love each other all of our lives and get married and are happily ever after.
Yeah, good luck with that, sister.
And of this time, Ian says, quote, I behaved as though nothing had occurred between us. This wasn't difficult. From my point of view, nothing had.
Oh, fuck.
Myra should accept that face or find some loser in pastures new. She could do whatever she wanted. I intended to.
Oh, sweetie.
What a dick.
That sounds like every dude I've
Well,
ever
every
dated.
douche. Like, what a dick. So either way, they hung out a ton. They started hanging out on Saddleworth Moor, and this was a place they would go to walk. And after spending a lot of time exploring there and hanging out, Ian admitted that they did grow close and were virtually living together
It was
at
like,
one point.
eventually, I let her shoot her shot.
She was fine. He felt like he could speak freely around her. And like I said, it seemed like a soulmate kind of thing and not a sexual attraction thing, at least on his side. It seemed like Ian just liked that they understood each other.
Okay.
So they had a lot of discussions about creating their own lives and how their lives were what they make them. They didn't want to be hammered into marriage. They didn't want kids.
They said, life's what you make it, so let's make it rock.
Exactly.
Do you know what that's from?
Exactly what she said.
Do you know what that's
No.
from? Hannah Montana.
That's why I didn't know that. So she was like, he was like a cult leader with her.
Yes.
'Cause like to the point where she would just be entranced by him.
But he didn't even have to do, like, he wasn't even
No,
trying to be like that.
He wasn't manipulating
With her.
her. She was just entranced by him.
Right.
Like anything he said, she was like, yes.
Yes, Ian, with those, like, swirly
exactly.
twirlies in her eyes.
He later said, quote, when we were together, there was a third entity, something intangible that possessed a power beyond both of us. We were both conscious of the joint momentum developing into an evocative united force. So he's saying, like,
What?
the two of us together were a fucking force, and we could feel it coming. Like,
I feel like they're giving themselves a little too much credit. I feel like they both just wanted to kill
They
people.
definitely are.
Like,
Good.
I don't think there was,
One
like, a black
thing
air around them.
about Ian Brady is he thinks he is so much more than he actually is.
Yeah, all that in
It's
a
like,
bag of chips.
He thinks he's Hannibal Lecter. Like, he needs to calm down.
Right.
So she said, quote, within months he had convinced me that there was no God at all. He could have told me that the earth was flat, the moon was made of green cheese, and that the sun rose in the west, and I would have believed him. He became my God, my idol, my object of worship, and I worshipped him blindly. I just couldn't say no to him. They ended up having nicknames for each other. She called him Nettie because it was after, like, the show they loved, the Goon Show. There was a character on there,
Because there are a couple of goons.
you know, and he called her Kiddo.
That makes sense
It
because
does.
it's so patronizing.
It's so demeaning.
Yeah, it is.
And they also had a secret code where if they would raise their eyebrows twice, it was called a Groucho, and it meant follow my eye line. So it was like for them to be like, I'm looking at something over here, look at it with me.
That's
and then
kinda
they would
cute,
say
but I bet they used it
DC.
bad.
Well, and then because both of them were bisexual and very, like, open with their sexuality,
Sure.
they would say DC, which meant delicious creature, and it was to be like, this person's hot over here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, like, that alone, you're like, wow, that would be cute if you guys didn't suck. They came into this us against the world kind of thing, which we see in a lot of these situations. They decided they hated everyone, and everyone
that's
was
fine.
stupider than they were, and everyone else was expendable, and they were above everybody.
No, shut up.
Myra molded herself into what she thought Ian wanted her to look like, and basically he kind of told her what he liked.
Did she get rid of her blonde hair?
Nope, she kept the blonde hair, but she used to dress, like I said, like pretty modestly and normal. And she started dressing in, like, very, like, provocative things, like, to get attention. Like,
Yeah.
she would dress up in high heels and boots, which is not, like, crazy, but for her it was.
For her, yeah.
In, like, short, tight skirts.
She was like,
and,
I'm going to change.
showing the bosoms a little bit. And this goes back to the Nazi thing. And this is because Ian has said that he had a real infatuation with a woman named Irma Grazer. Now, this woman was an SS guard at the Nazi concentration camps of Ravensbrück and Auschwitz. And she served as warden of the women's section. And she's known to be, like, ruthless, and she was known to, like, dress in the stark, like, SS uniform with, you know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing. And Myra carried her photo around.
That's weird as shit.
Yeah. And she also said, this is later, she said, she was like, you know, I loved him and he was so hot and blah, blah, blah. And then she was like, but he couldn't kiss for shit.
Well, because he's fucking assaulting your face.
And that's when she was like, yeah, he always drew blood when he kissed.
that's not enjoyable.
So this is like real now. She's head over heels entranced by him. He's feeling like they're unified, at least. And they had a live fast, die young motto between two of them. So that was their thing.
Oh, God.
They're just getting so lame and obnoxious.
I was going to say, I literally hate them at this point.
So he said he made sure that, you know, this is an open relationship. I can fuck whoever I want. And she was like, cool.
No.
Now, he introduced her to, like, classical music and the books he read. He very much influenced her in that way.
He's like this
showing her this
is
stuff.
Bach.
Then came the weird discussions. Ian brought up enemies and the idea that everyone has an enemy, and everyone has an enemy that they would like to see die. And if you say that you don't, you're lying. And he asked Myra if she had anyone that she would like to see dead, and she responded, Ronnie Sinclair.
That's not fair
Which
at all.
is fucked up. And then he was like, all right, give me details.
No.
And she got really vivid and cold about it. And he said she actually surprised him with how ruthless she was when talking about it. And she said she wanted him to be humiliated before he was killed.
You already did. You fucking left him for no reason.
She wanted to watch. She said she would feel nothing for having anything to do with his death, and told Ian, quote, I want him to be terrified, Nettie, to know that he's going to die. Then they went to Saddleworth Moor and planned it out and said that they can make it look like an accident. So he followed him home and to work several times. They were really going to do this. They plotted, they planned this meticulously. It never happened.
Huh, I wonder why.
And he got into a motorbike accident shortly after the planning process started. And I think it just got, like, shifted to the wayside, and they were just like, we'll do that later.
We'll do that in 10 years.
So Myra claims that he threatened to kill himself if she left him.
Oh, cute.
To which he says, quote, she flatters herself.
Oh, fuck.
I just love the quotes between the two of them are so funny to read. Later he did say, of course we were in love.
Okay.
And then he said,
at least he said that.
We wanted to go down together at the trial. Which is true, and we'll talk about that at the trial. So he does admit, like, we were in love. Like,
yeah.
That is a thing. They were definitely into, like, super rough sex between the two of them,
well,
which
I can only imagine with the way that he kisses.
He kisses to draw blood, so you can take what you want from
God.
that. Myra said she often had to drink in order to, like, really get into it. They drank a bottle of wine a day, she said, together.
Fuck. I'm surprised they weren't more bloated.
He also had a thing where he liked a candlestick shoved up his ass. Which I just think is funny because fuck you and Brady.
That also reminds me of, what's that show? Shameless.
There you go. So that's him. Then they had pillow talk, and the pillow talk would suddenly turn into his fantasies about raping and killing a child and not getting away with it.
Oh.
So here we see how Myra is not this innocent victim because she was like, oh, tell me more. Like right after they fucked. And they wanted it to be the perfect crime, and they started talking about it real.
I'm
they were
normally like, you want to buy a big
happen.
house someday?
Yeah, but no, he was like, I would really love to abduct and murder a child and not get away with it. And she was
wonder-
like, sounds great.
Did he ever come out and say why children?
No.
That's so weird
I don't
to
know.
me.
Well, he never really explains it. Well, when talking about this, Myra said later that she just liked swimming against the tide and not doing other things that people did or doing things that people wouldn't do. So she just liked going against
Like
things.
killing children.
Which it's like, yeah, like swim against the tide of like people eating Tide Pods. That tide.
Swim against that
Don't
tide.
go in that. But the tide of people like loving and cherishing and protecting children or just not caring about, like just ignoring children.
Go with that flow.
Swim with that tide.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to give a shit about children. Just ignore them.
Right.
Like why? This is not a tide that you
Right.
swim against. I don't understand. So he had her read this novel by Maya Levin. It was called Compulsion, I think. And it was a fictional novel that was it basically was based off of Leopold and Loeb.
Oh, okay. Whoa.
That was a big thunderclap.
Damn.
And which we covered in our first live show.
We did.
And so this was obviously a fictional telling of this killer, or these two killers killing a child, basically.
For thrill.
And these killers thought they were above everything. They thought they were smarter than everyone. And he was like, use this as a manual. This is who we are.
No, it's
So-
not.
She read it and they were ready to go. So Ian showed her how to conquer her emotions, she said, and how to appear level-headed so people around them would just think they were a normal, decent couple. And Ian said the way Myra was infatuated with him and looked up to him made him confident that this was the time to begin killing children.
Okay.
So it was like, thanks, Myra. So they got a black van and they drove around Manchester to find kids and start this whole process. So Ian took photos of children playing, which they like confiscated these later, and he took photos of children playing and like, yeah. And they went to like Myra's old school and took photos of children outside. They followed children, took notes. They discussed how to lure one into a van since Myra was a woman and she figured children would take comfort in that.
Uh-huh.
And they planned to bury the children they killed at Saddleworth Moors. And they visited the spots several times. They plotted it out. Ian would hold Myra and she would go limp like a dead body so that they could practice carrying a dead limp child across the moors.
Oh my
And they
God.
did this several times. And Myra admits this. She did this happily, she said. Because she said she wanted to do this. Like, let's do this.
Uh-huh.
She said, quote, I was considered good with children, an excellent babysitter, and able to put children at ease. Could I therefore be considered capable of child abduction or violence towards children?
Apparently.
To which I say, yes. Yes, you can.
Yeah, girl.
Now we're going to end it here.
Bye.
Because right after this is when they started their reign of terror.
Mm-hmm.
And now you are caught up after almost 2 hours.
Damn. 2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is Myra and Ian.
Yeah.
And that is them getting up to the point of planning their first murder.
That's fucked up.
And it's going to be rough in part 2 because we are coming up right to the murder of Pauline Reed, who was their first victim. She was 16 years old.
Ugh.
And yeah, so hopefully I've given you enough ammo that you are just feeling so much rage towards Ian and Myra because shit's going to get so much worse.
I definitely feel a lot of rage.
Yeah. So that's their tale up until now.
I don't really know how to tell you to follow us on Instagram.
Yeah.
But
it's
you can
kind of
do
rough
that.
one. You could do it at Morbid Podcast.
I guess if you want to follow us on Twitter, feel free.
At a Morbid Podcast?
And if you have any listener tales, any case suggestions, anything, hit up the Gmail account where you can talk to us.
morbidpodcast@gmail.com.
We hope you keep listening.
And we hope you
Keep
it
weird. But not so weird that you dye your hair platinum blonde and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to meet this cool guy named Ian and I'm going to write my diary about it every single day. And I'm going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to change for you, Ian. Look at me reading this book on lunch. I love books. Let's go kill kids. No, don't keep it that weird.
Don't. Fuck them.